Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Eerie International, episode 463 this week. I am David from the United States.
And I'm Dave from the UK.
And good Lord.
Things are going well.
Pigging the intro. It's a double Dave. I started to say double D and then I was like, let me change it to Dave. I couldn't make up my mind. It's a double Dave episode of Eerie International this week. Andy is out. I believe he's at a film festival. In fact, I'm pretty positive I don't actually remember. I know that he has seen more festival movies that he hasn't talked about yet on the show, but I can't remember if that timeline works out to why he's not here right now. He did tell us. But this week, no Andy, as we talk about the film The Devil's Advocate from 1997. Very excited to talk with you about this movie, Dave. I had never seen it before, and I have a lot of thoughts. Before that, though, if this is your first time listening to the show, welcome. We are a horror podcast. What the fuck is going on? I've drank some of my coffee, but clearly not enough. We are a horror podcast, whether it's films, TV shows, books, podcasts, audio, narratives, video games, whatever it is with a horror bent, we take a look at it. And it really does, stretch to some weird places. Obscure stuff. Like old films from the 50s and 60s that are in black and white and have no official release. We've done stuff like that. To the 1997 very front and center film, The Devil's Advocate, starring Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. We cover the gamut. Lots of episodes for you to go check out. Feel free to do so. We're on all kinds of different podcasting platforms and places, including now, I can say, YouTube, thanks to Dave. If you're somebody who uses YouTube, check it out. Is it our channel? Do we have a channel? I don't remember now.
Yeah,
okay. I thought we did.
We had the channel for years. We've just never done anything with it other than host one clip of Destiny, I think it was.
Of Destiny?
I think so, yeah. There was like
no.
Was it
Destiny? Yeah. It was a Let's Play thing kind of that we did. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Destiny though. It was
No. The test thing was Destiny.
Shit. Okay, my bad.
Yeah. It was literally just a test thing that you did at your end just to see if you could stream directly to YouTube, I think.
Makes more sense.
What
then.
you're thinking of, I think, is
PT.
PT, which I ended up hosting on my channel because I think that was prior to us having an official Eerie YouTube.
Okay, that makes sense.
And if anyone wants to hear me scream like a little girl, it's still up on my channel.
So check out all of the above. We're on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz. If you want to send us some longer form thoughts, feel free to do so over at eerieinternational@gmail.com. No messages or emails this week, so we can dive right into what we got into this week. It's going to be pretty short for me, Dave. Didn't get into a whole lot. I worked so much that I would have had things to talk about right now that I had planned to see that I didn't end up getting to see because of work. So I was going to go see the Long Walk, the new Stephen King adaptation on Monday night. Called Sean, or I texted Sean and was like, dude, I don't think I'm going to be able to be, like, even if I don't go to the movie, I don't think I can stop working until, like, tonight. I texted him in the afternoon. I was like, I have too many deadlines. Let's go tomorrow. Tuesday, same thing happened. So this weekend, maybe I'll try to go see that. But yeah, mostly just worked all week. I did get into a couple of quick things I wanted to mention. I've continued to read that book, The Descent, novel by Jeff Long. Man, it's fucking awesome. I really like it a lot. It's not what it is and it isn't what I expected. So this is the book that I mentioned a few weeks back that has a lot of similarities to the horror film, The Descent. But this came out in 1999. It's the more I read it, the more I'm like, okay, this is wildly different in terms of the execution, even though a lot of the premises are the same as the film. And I wasn't reading it to, try to bust anybody. I heard the book was good. So at this point, I want to say it's probably 500-600 pages long. I'm 200 pages in. and a little over. And the world building in this book is crazy. Like, it's so I think I mentioned when I first brought it up, you move pretty quickly. It has a Michael Crichton-y sort of like techno thriller kind of vibe to it, mixed with the horror. The horror is definitely still a primary sort of genre blend or whatever. But you're moving around different characters. You might read about one character and then it might jump forward 9 years, and you catch up on how the world has developed since then, since the discoveries of this like underground subterranean network of tunnels and this other world, basically. And so where I'm at now, like the descent, the title of the book refers to the descent that this group is making into a particular area of the underworld place, but then it's also referring to what the world has ended up referring to it, this discovery of this other world. So it causes like mass pandemonium and chaos for all of us up here, finding out that there's another world underneath that's filled with potential other people and nightmarish kind of shit. And you see like all of the ways that changes. So by the time now that I'm like in the kind of sort of like main thrust of the plot of the book, I think we are like the POV character in the chapter I just read, she's descending down into this world on this massive elevator that holds hundreds of workers that their entire job now and lives are working underground mining. Like the entire landscape of the world has changed because of different things and discoveries that we've made underneath. But there's also a like kind of semi-secret religious order that is dedicated to finding out who Satan is, because we have realized that over time all of our conceptions of hell and of demons come from this thing that we've discovered. So this religious order is like, we're not stupid. We don't think that there's a guy down there, I started to say with horns, although there are people with horns, that there's not this like magic evil Satan man down there, but there clearly is some sort of concept of a central organized either leader or force, and we want to find out who that is. So they are continuing to refer to him or this concept as Satan. So I'm really into it. I'm shocked that I had never heard about it until now. I'm surprised that it never got made into a miniseries or a movie, or like maybe it did and it was one of those things that got optioned and then things just fell apart. But man, it's so cool. And I think I told you guys too, like the vibe of it is very much, you remember that movie, The Bay? Yeah. So I'm trying to remember. Barry Levinson, I think, made it. The dude who made Diner.
That's
so, like,
as far as I can help with this. I've seen it.
That's fine. Yeah, but you'll remember this point though, because we talked about it a bunch on the show. Like it, and we've done other movies. Friedkin with The Exorcist is a kind of probably the most famous one people point to. But a filmmaker that's not typically a horror filmmaker making a horror movie, or starting out with a horror movie, and then you go back and watch it after they then didn't make horror movies for the rest of their career. There's a specific sort of execution and brand to it when it's not made by a horror fan necessarily, but it's a horror book, and you can tell that they do appreciate and like the horror of it. It's not, they're not looking down on it, but it's also not something a world that they come from necessarily. And that's definitely the vibe of this book. Like the horror stuff, when it happens, it hits, I think, really well. It's really cool, really creepy. But you can also tell that like this dude did his research, and it's not his normal speed. He's not writing underground monster books all the time. Like this is a big project for him. You could tell the book intros with like a 2-3 page introduction of literally him thanking people, and it's all like cave experts, fucking underwater researcher. Like it's all these people that he clearly had talked to because he wanted to get the stuff right. So anyway, yeah, awesome book, man. So far I'm really into it. I mean, I've read other books where I've been this into it and then midway through they, fall apart. So it's possible, but, yeah, I'm really into it so far, and I'll continue to shout it from the rooftops, cause I think it's pretty underread, underseen. I don't know. And then the other thing, which I'll mention, which will be a nice little segue, cause I believe you have also, watched, if not all of it, most all of it, because we talked about it last week. I finally caught up on Alien Earth.
Nice.
And I am completely up to date. Are you
up
to date?
No.
Okay. We swap places.
Yeah. So this is the thing, and this is a thing that Disney Plus, who I will point out I have never subscribed to and will continue not to subscribe to.
I tried to cancel my subscription last night
Good luck.
with all this shit. And, well, I need to look up an alternative method to hurt them because my Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN are bundled and included in my cell phone bill.
I've seen this be a problem for a lot of people where they get their stuff bundled through other stuff.
So, like, canceling it, I could. It's going to do nothing. Like, it's going to hurt no one other than my kid, who then won't. Which, I mean, that's fine.
I get it, man.
He can grow up learning a lesson.
Yeah, I mean, if I had the courage of my convictions, I would, like, call my sister and be like, you really should cancel Disney Plus because this guy that you've never heard of called Jimmy Kimmel.
Sure.
But she's not going to do that because reasons. Anyway.
Right. Anyway.
Not political reasons. It's not like she subscribes.
No, I know what you mean, but
we're
spinning off into multiple.
Yeah, but
tangents.
Anyway, my point is, Disney Plus and Netflix have kind of conditioned me into being all right with waiting multiple weeks and then binging on stuff.
Sure.
And I'm kind of doing that with Alien Earth. I am enjoying the fuck out of it. But I saw someone post the other night that, like, I think it's meant to be the penultimate episode that just came out. I love using the word penultimate because it makes me feel special. Second to last, for those that aren't aware. And now you too can feel special by using the word penultimate. And I saw people saying, oh, it's nice and gory and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, cool. Normally I would go and watch that immediately. But there's been other things happening, which I'll get into. Nothing dramatic, just other things that have taken my time up. So I think I'm probably going to wait until closer to the final episode dropping and then watch it. But yeah,
which I think is next week. I'm pretty sure the finale is. So
I'm led to believe it's an 8-episode run, so I'm up to episode 6 personally. But yeah, I've heard that episode 7 has got some good stuff in it. So
the 7-8 punch will be a good back-to-back thing because 7 definitely ends with a more than any other episode, the middle of a situation cliffhanger kind of thing.
I love that particular way of making TV programs these days. Let's do a cliffhanger on the second to last episode. Well,
also ends on a Queens of the Stone Age song. One thing that I like about this series, but very odd, are the needle drops.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it's all bands and music that I like, well, except for Godsmack. But it all works and they're always really well executed. But it's so odd because this franchise has never had this shit, and so when there's fucking Tool comes on at the end, it's a little jarring. But they've picked good songs.
If I'm going to argue their corner, and there's no need to because they've made a wonderful TV show, and you're not criticizing them for doing this, but I'm going to do anyway. I think this is the closest to our own time that we've ever visited the Alien universe, and
Prometheus is closer.
Okay,
but I know. I get you. It's definitely the first one on Earth. As far no, it's not because Alien versus Predator too. Yeah,
Alien versus Predator, but also I think Prometheus and Oven Can't both had sections of the movie on Earth.
Prometheus does.
Yeah. Actually, Aliens has a small amount of time on Earth as well. So
I guess I mean more. Okay, let me.
That's me.
I blew up my own example. No. I blew up my own example. Let me clarify.
The primary location is Earth.
Earth human culture. Yeah. Like usually we are distancing. So yeah, in that sense you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So the fact that this also is like the first, and I'm probably wrong on this one, but the first TV show to be centered around the Alien universe, at least one that has got.
I'm fairly confident that's true.
Okay, so I'm just thinking there's probably like an obscure animated show somewhere that people are screaming at me now to remember, but like the fact that is the case means that songs like this, in theory, could still be songs that people listen to. You know, they would call it classical music now, but still, it is kind of music that people would be aware of in that reality, in that time frame. I just love a needle drop, man. I'm with you. Like, they've picked some very good songs. I'm not familiar with Godsmack by that much. But I heard a lot
and
of people...
I also, when I said that earlier, I wasn't even. As soon as I said it, I was like, I wonder if we're going to get some Godsmack feedback. I don't. I don't have an opinion on them. I know one song by them, and it's the tie-in song they did for the Scorpion King movie in 2001.
God damn. Okay.
So
yeah,
yeah,
they're riding on that Nickelback train of
Sure.
I know songs from you, but they're all songs that were overexposed, and I really am not a massive fan of. I for one actually like Nickelback, so that's a terrible example. But there you go. That just shows how bad my sense of taste is with music. Please carry on though. This is your time, not mine.
No, you're good. I mean, I won't say. Pretty much just echo what we talked about last week. I mean, there are like some finer. I will say this: the thing that you alluded to, I think you're spot on. I think you'll get a little bit more of that. But I also don't. Man, I can't clear my throat. There's questions that are answered and questions that are raised. I'll put it that way in episode 7 with some of that shit. But
nice.
Yeah, all the stuff that we talked about last week pretty much could just echo again in terms of all the things I think work really well. Oliphant is a weirdo synth. Fucking like all of the like Zen assassin cyborg warrior guy stuff and manipulating children, like just all this stuff going on throughout the show that is definitely fits the world, but also it's definitely a more denser show than I expected. Like a lot of these plot lines on the show you could extract and just make another series about just that thing. But instead of it just being kind of like, oh well, there's Wendy's story and then there's the xenomorph or like the alien stuff. It's like there's Wendy's story, there's Cavalier's story, there's Hirsch's story, there's what's her name, Nibs, the other girl who there's some wild shit that happens with her in episode 7. Like it's all of these distinct identities for these kids, and then subsequently different problems, goals, etc. Yeah, I'm really into it. I think it's a great show. I read that Noah Hawley said apparently the first season is kind of like a proof of concept. If it does well, they would do season 2, which would be kind of like a different thing. But then seasons 3 through 5 would be them doing, okay, we've kind of cracked it. This is how we do now a serialized alien show over the course of 3 seasons. So I think the first season's kind of designed. The implication there to me is that, like, if they don't renew it, it'll still be a miniseries that works on its own. And but they have kind of a larger plan, which from everything I've seen, it's done well, like ratings wise and critically, it definitely has done well too. So fuck Disney, and all that shit. But
fuck Disney,
unfortunately,
but
Noah Hawley made a good show. Yeah, I'm gonna separate the art here if I can, as much as I can. Anyway, I'm really into the show. I think it's awesome, and if I continue to talk about it, I'm just going to be Chris Farley showing from last week, and all the different creatures are cool, but they are. So, I think that is it for me this week, Dave. Other than that, it's just been work. I'm looking around my office really quick in case there was like a comic or something I read. No, that's it for me this week.
Right then.
What about you?
Well, I started off the week by watching more Critical Role, because I always watch Critical Role. Nice. Unfortunately, it's kind of got to the point now where I put it on at night and then I kind of go to sleep after an hour or so I keep having to repeat watch multiple episodes.
Sure.
This leads to a larger thing, which is that I'm only into like the 26th episode of the third campaign, but I'm feeling like the third campaign is the hardest one for me to connect to the characters with. And I'm not sure if that's because with the first campaign, all I knew was Vox Machina, and I had the animated show to back it up with. The second campaign, it was the campaign with the Mighty Nine, so Laura Bailey's Jester character is just like the most beloved character in all of Critical Role, because she does nothing but draw dicks and make fun jokes and has a squeaky voice, and she's super cute, right? And then season 3, I only know one thing about it, and I'm not going to mention it on the show because in case there are other people who are doing the same thing as me and trying to catch up and maybe weren't aware of it because it came up. But there was a big to-do with a member of the crew whose character died. And it coincided with some shit that was happening in real life, and Thankfully, all of that worked out. None of it was long-term bad or anything like that. I'm really treading on fucking eggshells to try and not tell people about this shit. Because if I tell them who it is and what the problem was, then immediately that lets them know who the character was that died, and I don't want to do that. So, but yeah, like I'm having some connection issues just because I think most of the characters feel a little more vanilla compared to the characters from the first couple of seasons, and maybe it's fatigue, the fact that I've got all of these great characters they've played before, and I'm doing the very human thing of comparing and contrasting what they're doing with their new character compared to what their old characters were. I am enjoying it. It's just slightly more of a struggle to really get invested and involved, and I haven't got that feeling in the back of my mind, which is, how many of these episodes can I watch today? You know, like, and also it doesn't help that it's getting towards winter time, which means that I'm not out doing woodworking in the garden, listening to it on podcast, which was my preferred way of like listening to the show. And I can't listen to podcasts and literally sit there and not do anything else. It has to be while I'm doing something else. And woodworking is a very zen thing where I'm able to do the work, but also concentrate on what I'm listening to. Whereas if I'm playing Football Manager, for example, I just won the Premier League with Wheelstone, everybody. Yay me. There's one listener who's going to understand how big of an achievement that is. Nobody else. But yeah, so I can't seem to concentrate on two things at a time, where it's like video games and something that I listen to. So yeah, I'm having to basically just watch it on YouTube at night time, and that's creating its own struggles. But it's a fun show. It's just I'm having struggles with it, which are probably unfair given just how into the first two campaigns I was. Now, on the Dungeons and Dragons subject, and I've already told you and Andy this in our chat, and I've already mentioned, I think, on the show previously, that I'm going to be getting involved with a Dungeons and Dragons group at the local library at the beginning of next month. And we've started kind of prepping for it. We're going to start with a one-shot just for everyone to get to know each other and all that kind of stuff. I've been working on a character, but yesterday I took delivery of my Player's Handbook from the 2024 Player's Handbook of Dungeons & Dragons. And it's a really well-done book. Now, I don't have any previous experience of books to do with Dungeons & Dragons other than watching Ginny D videos, where she talks about like subclasses and how things have been changed and what she likes and what she doesn't like. But I haven't actually had any of the previous books in my hand and spent a good amount of time with them to see what the reading experience is like and how well they're set out. But what I can say is that this 2024 edition, and you've said to me in those chats that you've got it as well, and you've gone some way through it, David.
Yeah.
I think it's really well set out, actually.
Yeah.
Like, very intuitive for a complete newbie. I would imagine that for people that are familiar with the previous editions, and I can only go on what I've seen other people saying about the book, who are in the community, like Ginny D. Like Ginny D. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Because with Dungeons & Dragons, you're like, oh, it's a die. But it's like, no, it's D. She seems very positive about a lot of the changes. But yeah, like, it made perfect sense to me how to follow through with like making a character and all that kind of stuff. I still got things wrong because Dungeons and Dragons is very complicated where it comes to filling out character sheets. Like, there are multiple numbers that you need to add together and divide and then round down to the nearest even number and shit. And so, yeah, I made one or two mistakes, which I have to correct later today. But I had a really good time with it. And going back to the book, like, I think the artwork is really, really cool. There's some beautiful artwork that's thrown in there. They've got sections for background. They've got sections for the different races. So, like, ogres and not ogres, orcs and elves and humans, and my personal favourite, Goliaths. There's just so much information crammed into that book, and I don't envy whoever it was that was given the task of reshaping the book to make more sense and making the decisions to shrink sections down and expand other sections and things like that. It's got a very good index. It's got a very good glossary. You can always find what you're looking for very easily. So yeah, hats off to them. And the only thing I've got a problem with and this goes out as a warning to anyone that's looking to perhaps get into the hobby in the near future. If you want to use an online character sheet like D&D Beyond or Roll20, don't buy the book from a separate place, because you'll be locked out of classes on the app. I do know why they do this. It's so that you buy books through them and you can then unlock everything. But using D&D Beyond, in my case, with a book that I've bought from elsewhere, when I was building the character, I only had a choice of 4 out of the 8 backgrounds. And I only had no, actually, that was it. They basically lock you out of like half of the backgrounds. So I really wanted my character to either be from the farmer background or from the hermit background. Both of them are locked. And you can, in the D&D Beyond app, you can use the homebrew function to basically recreate those backgrounds. But it's a lot of extra work. And what's most infuriating is the fact that I knew going into buying the book that D&D Beyond is actually owned by Wizards of the Coast now. It wasn't always, but in the last few years it's been owned by Wizards of the Coast. And so I assumed, as most people on the forums seem to have assumed that are in the same position as me, that when you buy the book, it will probably have some kind of code in it that you can use to unlock that content on D&D Beyond. That isn't the case, and so anyone that does want to use the online character sheets rather than making their own paper character sheets and filling them out that way, I would say that doing it on an app like D&D Beyond is a lot easier, but you are going to run into problems if you already own the book from somewhere else. So if you are going to use the online, I would suggest that whatever online sheet you use, probably you want to buy the book through them, so that you can unlock the full content on your sheet, because otherwise you're going to run into problems like I am. I mean, if you want to use something like the soldier background, you're in luck, because that is included in the base version. But I had a specific aim for my character, and unfortunately it wasn't covered. And I didn't know at the time that you could do the homebrew shit. And to be honest, even now I know about the homebrew shit. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to use a paper sheet instead. Maybe down the line I will, but for now I'm done. So, little cautionary warning. But I have to say that the book is fantastic, and the D&D Beyond app actually is very well implemented, as long as you know the little caveats and the little whys and wherefores going into it. So enough about Dungeons and Dragons. Everyone is thoroughly bored of me talking about that now. My new obsession. So let's instead talk about a couple of trailers that I saw this week. One of them is for a horror film. The other one is for a game which definitely has horror vibes to it, but I think it's probably closer to like Power Washer Simulator or something like that. Let's start with the film. Let's start with the film, because I've now piqued everyone's interest, including yours, David. I can hear.
You had me at Power Wash Simulator.
There you go. So I'm going to eke that shit out as long as I can. The trailer that I saw for a film was for Good Boy.
Oh shit! Yeah, I saw the poster and then I saw the trailer came out, but I haven't watched the trailer yet.
It's a pretty good trailer, bearing in mind the limitations that a film like this is going to have in terms of like trailer content. But for anyone that isn't aware, this is a horror movie told from the point of view of a dog, and the trailer's really good. Actually, like it makes me want to watch a film. I wanted to see it anyway because I thought it was a really interesting concept for a movie.
And I think it's also for anyone who is like one of those people that uses the Does the Dog Die website. I think like another sort of central conceit of this movie from the beginning was always like this is a movie where the dog's the hero. Yeah. So not like a movie where it's going to be, if you love dogs, don't watch this. I think the opposite. It seems like I haven't seen the trailer yet, so I could be I could be wrong on the tone. But at least every time I've seen it pitched, it's always been like, for all of you dog lovers who are always worried about the dog in the horror movie, like here's one where he's the hero kind of deal.
I think it's coded in a way where he's in peril, but he's the final. Right. He's the final good boy, right? So like he's going
the cowardly dog, but
so he's going to survive. So from that point of view, I think everyone's fine, but you can still feel scared for him and stuff. And there are shots in the trailer that are really well done, like the classic kind of like wide-eyed, scared heroine. who's standing in the middle of the woods, and then the camera just like moves to the right slightly, and it reveals that the killer is right behind her, or like in the distance, like backlit to look ominous and threatening. So there's a lot of that good stuff in there. But yeah, I'm really interested to see this film and see how it's done. But yeah, it looks cool, and he's such a cute boy, such a cute boy. So
it's a golden retriever, right?
So I think I'm not sure, because the colouring of his coat doesn't look like a golden retriever.
Oh, okay.
He might be some cross between maybe a King Charles and maybe even a Rottie.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's not a. I'm trying to see if it doesn't say it on the Wikipedia. It has a 95% already out of 21
Fuck
reviews.
yeah, it
That's
does.
crazy.
People love their good boys. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure about the breed of the dog. Looking at the poster and then looking at some of the moving images, it looks like a different dog. So I don't know exactly what's going on there. But
I think it's according to what I just found, and I'm going to not use the dumbass fucking bullshit. God damn, I hate AI. Google does that shit now at the top, or it does like the AI overview.
I believe that
which
can be
I
turned
saw
off, but I need to check.
Oh shit, can it?
I heard someone say something about like in the settings you can turn that off, but I need to look into it because I've not done it yet.
Yeah, I don't want that shit.
No.
Anyway, I found an actual answer that's not AI. It's a Nova Scotia duck tolling retriever.
Oh, okay.
Duck toller. Yeah.
All right. I've never heard of the breed,
a retriever.
but it's a working dog.
But not...
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the picture, I was like, oh, yeah, that's not a golden retriever. But
yeah, he's in the family.
You can see. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a cute dog.
Cool. That's really cool. So yeah.
Larry Fessenden is in the movie also, apparently. I don't know if he's in the trailer, but he's listed here.
I saw his name mentioned. Maybe it was in the trailer, or maybe it was in some of the stuff that was surrounding it. But yeah, like it just immediately I'm like, yeah, this is a movie for me. So
yeah,
I'll watch it when it comes out. Hopefully, I will actually watch it when it comes out and not do what I normally do, which is think, I can't do it today. I'll do it like Monday, and then it isn't in cinemas anymore because. Yeah, that's bitten me in the arse a few times recently. We shall not talk about that now, but we will when we finally get round to it. So the game that I was talking about, have you seen the trailer for a game called The Lift?
The Lift? I don't think so.
Okay, so
this is a video game.
It's a video game. It's a really cool trailer. I think the trailer is made completely independently of the video game assets. Because it starts with a cinematic which kind of runs you through the general concept of the game, and then it shows you in-game footage afterwards, and it feels like it's a slightly more Portal-inspired game in the actual gameplay, whereas the trailer itself is a guy who basically is like a handyman who gets a warning light that something's going wrong in the basement, so he goes down there in the lift, and then basically spends his day putting everything right, and that includes putting in new lights and cleaning up cables and using what looks kind of like a cross between the the people that made He-Man all those years ago. I can't remember their name right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, they made a version of Ghostbusters which wasn't Ghostbusters, but it was Ghostbusters because they made Ghostbusters before Ghostbusters were Ghostbusters. If that makes sense to anyone.
It was called. You're talking about the show called Ghostbusters,
yes,
right?
Yeah, the animated TV show called Ghostbusters, which had like an animal mascot gorilla in there. Yeah, it was a gorilla. You're right. So it's like a cross between their version of like the proton pack or whatever. It's basically a Hoover, right?
Oh shit! It's so weird. I have the trailer playing on mute on, or IGN started auto playing it. I pulled up, and as you're describing it, shit is happening. It's like it's been queued up just for me.
I'm so fucking good, man. I'm so fucking good.
It looks awesome. It's got like a stop motion sort of.
So yeah, that's exactly
vibe.
it. Like the actual trailer part of it is all stop motion and it looks really cool, and I was like, is this a game? Because the thing is, IGN is not just a game site anymore, it does all kinds of stuff, and it didn't say on the video, all it says on the video is The Lift official announcement trailer, and I was like, okay, so is this a video game or is this like an animated series or a movie? And so I'm watching the first half of it, I'm like, this is really cool, and then it started showing the gameplay and I was like, okay, so it's a game. That's a shame. It doesn't look as cool when you get into the gameplay. Because honestly, like the stop motion vibe, I loved it. And there are games out there that have employed like a stop motion aesthetic. I can't think of the names of any of them right now because it's me. I have a bad memory. Everyone knows this at this point. But
oh shit! Now I see the gameplay. There's still some of the stop motion in there, like
there's some effects like
but yeah, I see
of
what you
steam
mean.
and things like that look kind of stop motion. But the actual general gameplay just kind of looks like a 3D engine with like cell shading over the top. Yeah, the FPS doesn't really help. But I can imagine for accessibility reasons why the frame rate should be smoother, because I would guess that too choppy of a frame rate, and you're going to have people like having fits and shit, like epileptics and stuff like that.
It's hard to pull that off too. Like I've noticed that, man, this game looks fucking awesome. I'm totally going to add this to my so it says available on PC
thing, right?
in 2026. Yeah, and then the description of it also says an interactive world inspired by Soviet sci-fi and fucking just started playing so loud in my headphones. SCP Foundation, which I've mentioned on the show. I'm a big fan of that shit. It's like sort of creepypasta, Hellboy-ish sort of thing, where it's like this. Do you know the SCP stuff?
I think I remember you talking about it before, because when you mentioned the fact that it was kind of like the Hellboy stuff, that was what reminded me.
It's kind of like a BPRD, and the way the format of the SCP entries is that they're all entries of a specific like anomaly. So like it might be and usually what will happen is somebody will write a piece of fiction, there will be an artist that will do like a rendition of it, and then it will be like designated as a case file within the SCP Foundation. So it's all open source, it's all like Creative Commons license, anybody can mess with it, but then it's influenced and been influenced by like the video game Control. I mean, it's all kind of like mixed in with Lynchy, Twin Peaksy, Lovecraftian kind of shit too. So very much my vibe and jam, and yeah, this looks great. I'm gonna buy the fuck out of this when it comes out.
It also kind of reminded me of a game, and again, I'm terrible with. Was it The Traveler or something? It was like a puzzle game.
Oh yeah. I think it was called that, where you're like a little astronaut guy.
No,
is that what you're talking about?
Different thing. It was this was like a first-person game where you were on like an island, and there were.
Oh shit! The Witness.
The Witness. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
good
it.
game.
Yeah. Thank God someone here has a good memory, because mine is trash. So yeah, like it gave me kind of vibes of that as well, but obviously with that more kind of like Soviet. I don't want to call it steampunk because it's a very different thing, but still, it's got that kind of grimy, kind of industrial feel to it. So yeah, like it does look interesting. I'll be interested to see a little bit more of the game down the line, because it turns out that even the games that I like, I just haven't got time for them anymore. I'm just like, no, I'll just play some more Football Manager. I'll be fine.
Yeah, I know.
Especially with the women's football being added now.
All of my like the guys in my little group chat that we all play games and shit together, they're all playing Borderlands 4, and one of them even bought me a copy of it because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to buy it yet, blah blah blah, and they were like, oh, we all want to play, so I have a free and I just haven't been able to play it all week. Like the little pockets I've had of time, I've ended up playing Dead Zone Rogue, which is like a roguelike sort of, because it's another one of those where it's like I've got 15-20 minutes before at the end of my night before I'm going to fall asleep and then start over tomorrow. Like, I'll just play a run of this. So, yeah, I'm in a similar place. Borderlands 4 is just sitting there, and I haven't had time for it.
It's like Minecraft with me. I went through a stage with Minecraft where I was on that constantly, and now I'm just like, it's the same again. I really need to get like a group of people together to just play like a shared world. We did that once like a long time ago, and that was great fun, but it's just difficult to get everyone in the same place at the same time, you know?
Oh, yeah. For sure. Even me and these guys, we're all in the same time zone. Like, we're all within, and even then it's so hard because of jobs and kids. And
adulting is hard. I don't want to be one of those people that uses adulting as an actual verb, but it gets the message across in this instance. So anyway, that's basically it. I read a little bit more, speaking of the library earlier, I've read a little bit more of Garth Marenghi's Incarcerat. I'm really struggling to get through it, not because it's good or bad or anything like that, but just because it is good. I'm not a very good reader, I'm really not. Like, I've extended the loan on that book twice.
I'm going to push back on this, Dave. I think you are. I think you're much better than you think that you are. I would argue that these Garth Marenghi books, as much as I'm absolutely a fan, and I will talk them up and recommend them for fans of the show, they're not like easy, but like you're not going to sit down and be like, let's read fucking what's the first one, Terror Drome or whatever, cover to cover. Like they're very specifically weird, like dense joke within a joke within a joke, like 3-layer deep. Like it makes sense to me that this would be a book that would take longer because it's not like you can make it in the same way that if there were like 6 seasons of Dark Place, it would be hard to binge because like each episode is just so like weirdly full and specific, and like I'm not trying to make it seem like the show is the smartest thing ever in the world, but I can see how this would take one where you're like, let me read a chapter and then I'll come back a little bit later. Like it makes sense to me.
Yeah. So I've done I've managed 4 pages in the last week.
There you go. That's an appropriate rate, I think.
Maybe, but it's a library book. I'm going to have to just give up at some point soon because other people might want it. Also, I need to go back.
Because you've read all the Dark Tower books, man. Like
I did. Yeah.
I know what you mean when you say that, but I think you're a reader.
Yeah, although the number of literal years it took me to read one of those books was epic. I need to go back to Garth Marenghi's Dark Place because I suddenly had this thing in the back of my head that said that line that he constantly uses over and over that I mentioned on a previous episode, where he talks about the basal ganglia, also known as this, also known as that, responsible for this, and this.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that that's a line that they used multiple times in Dark Place as well, and it's just something that he's carried on using.
That's what I mean, dude. Like,
yeah.
That was one of the first thoughts I had when I got the first book was like, I probably need to rewatch the show before I read. Like, I feel like I want to get the most out of it, and as we've talked about, like the show and the books are such a special, specific, unique thing that you can't necessarily, like, you can watch it and approach it like any other show, but it's not any other show. It's a pretty weird thing that if you like it and snap into it, it's great. But yeah, I know I hit the same thing. I have both books on my shelf and I will start neither of them until I rewatch the show because I need to have that world fresh.
I have them both, and I will start neither of them. Oh man, yeah. So there we go. That's it. That's everything. I can't believe that we took this long for two of us to talk about fuck all that we had. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about Devil's Advocate. I've been dying to talk about this one since I watched it only last night, and it's been tough to not text you or Auntie about this movie. Okay, and so that officially before I move over, that's everything from you this week, Dave?
That is, yes.
Okay, all right, let's do it. Devil's Advocate, 1997 American supernatural horror film, directed by Taylor Hackford, written by Jonathan Lemkin and Tony Gilroy, my man Tony Gilroy, creator of Andor and Michael Clayton, one of the best movies ever. Starring Keanu Reeves, Al Pacino, Charlize Theron, based on Andrew Niederman's 1990 novel. Wikipedia describes it thusly: about a gifted young Florida lawyer invited to work for a major New York City law firm. Good Lord, I can't read. As his wife becomes haunted by frightening visions, the lawyer slowly realizes that the firm's owner, John Milton, is the devil. And boy, does it take him a while to realize it. This came out, as I mentioned, in 97. It cost $57 million and made $153 million. Did pretty well. This movie, okay, so in the past, I have talked about films on this podcast that I had not seen until now, because when they originally came out, I was entrenched in the conservative Christian world on multiple levels. So the standard like conservative Christian family level, and then on top of that, my dad was a pastor, and then on top of that, depending on the time and era and location, my dad and mom were missionaries. So Christian as fuck. Inception 3 layers deep. So when movies like this came out, 1997, I would have been 8 years old. Probably by the time we were in Brazil when they were missionaries. It would have been a little older by the time it got there, because it was there when this movie. I was there when this movie showed up on my radar. Movies like this I've mentioned. Stigmata, another movie I've never seen from the kind of the same era. Even stuff that's not necessarily religiously controversial, but like American Werewolf in Paris. Like, that movie was another one. Like, they've entered into this kind of like weird elevated place in my mind of these movies that I wanted to see so badly at the time, but I knew there was no fucking way my parents were going to let me watch them, especially if there was some sort of religious demonic element to it. It was more my mom, but definitely at this age, I think both my parents. So The Devil's Advocate for me has been this like legendary movie my whole life that I've known about. I've known all the actors. I've known all of the sort of like famous lines and moments, but have never seen the actual film. So it got brought up last week, and I told you guys, I was like, I wouldn't mind watching Devil's Advocate. I've never seen it. I don't really know if it's good or not. So this was a whole experience for me, more so than just watching a random ass 90s horror movie that I would say is kind of middle of the road in terms of people's opinions and discussions about it. Like, you don't hear it brought up a ton, but you also don't hear people talk shit about it necessarily. Yeah, let's get into it. So for you, Dave, was this, let's have you kick us off. Was this the first time you'd seen it, and what were your overall thoughts?
This is another one of those movies that falls into the category of I watched it once when it was already halfway through and fell off before the end.
Sure.
Basically, not because I wasn't enjoying it, I don't think, but because it was difficult to follow exactly what was happening, because I didn't know where a lot of these characters came from. So, right. It was kind of like one of those ones. Plus, it's 144 minutes. Like, it's quite a long film, even if you jump in halfway through.
It's very fucking long.
Yeah. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but we have talked before about how 90 minutes is basically like perfect film territory.
Right.
But yeah, like I definitely am familiar with the film. Like, we were both around when it came out, so I remember like the advertising campaign for it and everything. It's been on TV numerous times. I've caught bits of it, but this would probably be the first time that I've watched it the whole way through, and I did think it was a very well done film, actually. I tend to enjoy courtroom dramas more than I think I will. And, at some point, I probably need to come to the realization, much like musical theatre, that I'm just a fan. I just don't realize it. Like
of courtroom dramas?
Yeah, like John Grisham films, I always end up watching them and enjoying them. But it's like, if you ask me, what do you want to watch? I'm not going to turn around and say, The Firm, please.
Right.
I
know what you mean. I'm a big... I feel like I have a similar thing with heist movies. Heist movies and courtroom dramas are genres that I'll never, like you just said, I'll never be like, I'm in the mood for a heist movie. But inevitably, when I watch one of those movies, I'm always like, man, I fucking love heist movies, and courtroom dramas are the same way.
I don't know, man. I'm a big heist movie fan, like, ever since the Ocean's films.
Yeah.
Like, but I will. Like, if someone said to me, do you want to watch a heist movie? I'd be like, fuck yeah, I do. Or, like, I maybe I need to watch that Ocean's 7 or 8 movie or whatever it was called, but... I saw
with
the
women,
the women's one. Yeah, that's the one that I've not seen yet. So, but yeah, I love a heist movie. But yeah, it's surprising to me how much I enjoy courtroom dramas when I sit down and watch one. Whether I've never actively sought out to watch one, even when they're on Netflix and I'm going through for something to watch. I'm just like, no. But if it's on TV, there's nothing else.
I mean, even this movie, there's really so much you can do to like pitch it in an image or in a poster. Even a trailer is tough, because courtroom dramas are like basically people talking. I mean, there's no like, if you see a poster or an image on Netflix for a courtroom movie, it's gonna be a guy in a suit, at most yelling. Like, there's nothing about it where you're like, what the fuck is this movie? Like,
yeah.
So it is a hard sell. And I think even This movie that literally mixes in Satan is still like, if you watch the trailer, like the posters, it's guys in suits and looking menacing and stuff. There's some highlights that make it more demonic, but it's still pretty subdued. I
definitely feel like at the time that it was released, and I can't prove this beyond my memory of like when the film came out, I remember the advertising doing enough to let you know this isn't just a courtroom drama. This isn't your next John Grisham movie.
Oh,
this is,
for sure.
This is definitely, there is something else going on here. There were certain shots of like Al Pacino just looking insane.
Right.
As he does, because, you know, between him and fuck knows, like, there's this whole generation of actors who just, they eat scenery and they enjoy doing it thoroughly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And Pacino he's a weird one because, like, he's in some films where he's just very subtle and very, very good. And then there's The Devil's Advocate where he's just eating the fucking scenery left and right and enjoying the fuck out of what he's doing, by the way. Like, he looks like he's having a whale of a time. But yeah, I definitely remember at the time of the film coming out that I was aware of the fact that this wasn't just a courtroom thing. This was very much kind of like a supernatural drama. And being as it was released as an 18, I think it was released as an 18 in the UK. When it was released, I wouldn't have been old enough, even if it was a 15, I don't think. 97. Yeah, I would have been just under the age where I could go and see it. And it wouldn't have been something that massively interested me at the time anyway, because 97, we were a year removed from Independence Day and movies like that. I was very much into my action movies and sci-fi, and like Star Trek, I think, had a film out that year as well. So yeah, it would have been a hard sell to get me to watch The Devil's Advocate. This would have been one of those movies like Shooting Fish. I know this is a weird thing to compare to, but Shooting Fish, a British movie from the late 90s, I would have only have watched that film if I was out watching a film with my dad and he was choosing what we were watching that week. And he's got an astonishing track record of picking movies that I don't think I'm going to enjoy, and I end up enjoying. It's a very strange talent he has. But yeah, The Devil's Advocate was never one of those ones that we were going to watch. So, but yeah, I think the cinematography on this film is really, really well done. There's a couple of scenes in particular that I'll bring up later that just absolutely knocked me off my perch in terms of the quality of them and the look of them. I'm aware there is a legal drama that happened as a result of this movie, which we'll probably talk about later, revolving around one of
very boring one.
Yeah, but still.
Well, yeah. No, it is worth talking about, but yeah, it is. I was thinking about it later, and I was like, man, this is usually my bread and butter. These sort of like film trivia, like
you just don't care,
this thing. It's just so. I don't know what it is about it. This particular one is just so boring. Like, I think maybe the amount of. And okay, I should clarify. I definitely, absolutely, unequivocally stand by and am on the side of the artist. Like it should be, sculpture shouldn't be any different than any other kind of art where, you know, somebody is potentially just, you know, stealing it and modifying it or whatever without getting permission or compensating the person, whatever else. But yeah, I think just how big of a deal it was, to the point that they had to re-edit the movie and put stickers on the VHS tapes and DVDs to say that it's been modified, and it's a sculpture. Like, I don't know. There's something about it that is just kind of like, man, what a lot of work. It probably, if I had to guess, is a great pivotal precedent-setting case to these sorts of things. So I'm glad it happened, especially if that's something that has then helped, you know, protect artists. But yeah, as its own Wikipedia article, like it's a whole thing, and it's a sculpture that moves around with some CG. It is kind of bullshit that they took it and just fucked with it and tried to pretend like they came up with it. But when you read about how there's multiple cuts of the movie, at first you're just like, what the fuck happened? And you know, it's a sculpture. It's not a
sculpture
huge
on a wall that's there for 5 minutes, and you're never really paying that much attention to it because there's a whole incest angle happening in front of your eyes as it happens. But yeah, anyway, some really good performances. The actress that plays that plays Keanu Reeves' mother, I thought did an excellent job. Charlize Theron is great. I don't know if this is one of her earliest roles, actually.
I'm trying to think the first time I saw her would have been...
I'm just having a quick look at the old filmography.
Yeah, me too. I think this would be the first thing I saw her in. I watched this last night, so... Mighty Joe Young.
It was one of her earliest movies, but she was in Children of the Corn 3 in 1995.
Oh, well. Yeah.
So that she's uncredited though, so technically, I guess That Thing You Do, 1996.
Yeah, I was going to say that would have been the first time I ever saw her where I was like, because Mighty Joe Young I watched as a kid, but I don't even remember who the lead in that is. Is it Jeff Bridges? I don't remember now. Anyway, the first time I ever like realized, like took note of her, and especially in That Thing You Do, she's the drummer's first girlfriend before he becomes kind of entangled with Liv Tyler. Have you seen that movie, Dave?
No, actually.
It is amazing. If I had to make a list of some of the most underrated American films ever, I would put that on there. I think it's caught a little bit more traction. It's written and directed by Tom Hanks. Like it should be a much bigger movie, but it's so good. Anyway, yeah, she's great in that, but it's a very small role. There is an earlier credit for something called 2 Days in the Valley, which I've never heard of.
I suppose technically that is her first credited role. But anyway, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's just something that I got sidetracked on. Music's very good. I thought special effects were well implemented. There's a face morphing scene right at the end, which I enjoyed.
Dude, I got a little bit of not a jump scare, and I knew it was coming because I had seen the shot before. But when the first time there's a face morph with the naked women, like when they're in the changing room, pretty creepy looking. Like still
very creepy looking,
still pretty effective, I thought.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think as opening thoughts go, I'll probably leave it there. Otherwise, I'll probably end up spoiling a bunch of stuff that we get to as we get to it. But what were your thoughts about it? This is your first time watching it, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And was all excited and ready to embrace the sin. I saw a meme the other day that I really liked. It's of God. It's like Jesus looking down at Earth and kind of laughing, like in kind of like a conspiratorial way. And the caption is, "Hell yeah, those are the sins I died for." And that's kind of how was my outlook going into this movie, of just like, let's embrace, kind of like how when I finally watched Showgirls for the first time, like all my Christian upbringing and repressed stuff thrown away to the side so I can just enjoy it. And similarly to most of these movies, when I've had this experience, the result is that it's a movie that's nowhere nearly as graphic as I expected it to be. Maybe at the time it was. I don't know. Showgirls had some stuff in it where I was like, it's pretty crazy.
That's
they
some
had
dolphin sex. Yeah.
Yeah. But the Devil's Advocate, I see why and how. So I didn't remember this until I was watching the movie, but I had a memory, and I'll have to ask my dad if he remembers this, but I had a memory, and I'm pretty sure my parents rented this, and they had not seen trailers, like anything.
Oh, they thought it was a legal drama.
Yeah.
Oh,
and so, yeah,
shit.
100%. So midway through, I remembered that. I was like, I'm pretty sure that my mom thought that this was just a normal, like, kind of sleazy legal drama. Keep in mind, they are evangelical Christian missionary, Baptist Christian missionaries in another country. Watching. Choked on my own fucking laughter. Watching this movie, and then, because I think it was specifically, if I'm remembering correctly, it's also kind of sad because it's like I wish I could talk to my mom about it.
Yeah.
I think the reason I've seen that face morph scene in the changing room is my mom showed me that part, because she would do this stuff sometimes where like I think probably because I was persistent, I was interested in movies. I didn't know I wanted to make them that young, but which was a phase I went through for a while. But I definitely was very into them, and so I would always ask, like, "Oh, can you show me this? Can you show me that? Can I watch this?" And I've talked on the show about how my mom would Like I have a version of Eddie Murphy's comedy album Delirious that my mom edited all the swear words out of because she liked it and wanted me to hear it but didn't want me to hear the swearing. So it's like these like weird Christian things. But my mom also liked and appreciated art and pop culture and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure she showed me the scene, which she must have had to do some creative like hand placement on the screen because there's nudity. I was
gonna say there's boobs in that scene, man.
Yeah,
you had a cool mom.
I know I wouldn't have seen that. There's no way she would have shown me that. But I remember her talking about like, oh yeah, and I thought, and because I even had a memory of, I think this was when I learned the phrase "devil's advocate." Because I think I have a memory of my mom explaining to me devil's advocate is this phrase, but it doesn't mean Satan normally. But that's when they were midway through the movie that she put it together and was like, oh, okay, this is about Satan. Yeah. So all of that stuff, all of the like Al Pacino, sex, whatever. I didn't think any of it was really all that shocking. I mean, maybe for the time it was a little edgier for an R-rated movie. Honestly, like Al Pacino, I don't know. So I've seen The Godfather 1 and 2. I'm trying to think of other like big Pacino movies. There are definitely gaps. And so he's one of those actors for me. Robert Redford just died. He was a similar one where I'm absolutely aware of him, absolutely aware of how important he was to filmmaking, to acting, etc. I have seen some of the bigger moments, but there are plenty that I haven't seen. And I think just because generationally speaking, they were before me, like probably the first movie I think of when people bring up Robert Redford, if I'm thinking about movies I've seen him in and like my interactions with his work, is the movie Spy Game. No one's favorite Robert Redford movie, but it came out when I was like 13, 14. Brad Pitt was in it. He was a bigger touchstone for me at that point. Yeah. Like, that was my in, not some of the older classics. So Pacino's similar thing. I haven't seen Dog Day Afternoon. I haven't seen Heat. Like there's big ones that I haven't seen yet. So watching this was particularly interesting for me because a lot of the stuff I know of Al Pacino, especially impressions and his character in Heat and everything else, I've quoted lines from Heat with Austin for years, and I've never seen it. But just because I know the delivery and stuff, either because of Austin or clips I've seen, it reminded me more of that. It was like, oh, okay, we've got that unhinged Pacino, like the she's got a great ass, the thing he says in Heat. Like it's basically that extended to a full movie. Yeah. He's just kind of like, so you're absolutely right. Chews up scenery constantly. He's really fun to watch. I think he's probably the best part of the movie for me. Is he's always talking. He's always running his mouth. I think the delivery and the performance is more interesting than the words. Like I kind of started to zone out by his like fifth monologue because it was like he's not really saying anything other than just kind of regurgitating like fucking Paradise Lost and biblical concepts in different metaphors or whatever. And I mean, I'm trying to think how to approach this. I love Keanu Reeves. I think he's great.
I know where you're going with this, and go ahead.
It's just a weird thing that we all do. It's like this collective pretending. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird. Like either people are like, oh, he's the worst actor ever, and it's like a Shyamalan thing where it's like, oh, it became more of the pop culture reference that people kind of like the Nickelback thing you talked about before, as opposed to maybe the actual literal truth. Mm-hmm. There are roles that I see Keanu Reeves in where I'm like, I can't picture anybody else. I don't even think that he is amazing in the first Matrix movie. I think he's good, but I can't picture anyone else as Neo. Like it's him. Same for John Wick. In movies where he has to do more, he's not good. He's not good. I mean, it's weird because like I don't want to say he's not good and like shit on his performance, but it's also one of those things where like from what I read, he passed on Speed 2 because he didn't want to do multiple action movies in a row, and he did this movie instead. So I get that. Like, I totally understand, like, wanting to play against type and everything else. But not only does he have to do completely different shit than he's done so far, but he has to have an accent. It's not the hardest accent in the world to pull off, but if you don't pull it off, it's very noticeable. At least for me, it was. Like, he sounds like Keanu Reeves trying to do a Southern accent. It comes and goes. Sometimes he'll hit it in a way where you're like, that's a different accent. Sometimes it'll be real heavy. So It's an odd movie with like same thing with not same thing. Charlize Theron I think it's a similar thing where like she's similar thing as Pacino where she's doing a better job than the movie she's in kind of deal where it's like I could see how this probably put her on the map for a lot of people in terms of the performance because she has to do a lot. But I think the material also isn't necessarily doing her character any favors. Like she's definitely kind of there to be the punching bag, like the woman who is nagging him and then is a victim and then kills herself. Like but she does a lot with the role in terms of making you feel for her and like she nails it. But it's also similarly to Pacino. It's one of those things where it's kind of like the performance is more the focus, which I think it should be because it's ultimately better than the material. I don't know. I'm floundering around.
No, you're cool.
I didn't even say my. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. I was just going to jump in and say, like, concerning Charlize Theron's character, I think there's a problem with it where she's giving a really good performance for what she's given, but she's not given nearly enough, especially where it comes to the mental breakdown of the character. It just feels like it comes all too quickly and all at once, and there's no real kind of gradual. There's nothing that kicks it off to start with. Like she just randomly one day just starts being like when he wins that case at the beginning of the film. Like she's the life of the party, and she's like having a drink and she's dancing around. And yeah, you can make the argument that she's comfortable in her own environment in the town that she grew up in, or at the very least that she's been living in for a while. But then, like, she's at a swanky, not even a dinner party, just like this swanky soiree, this collection of people that she already does kind of know. She's in an apartment complex she literally lives downstairs in, and she's talking to him like, if you leave me for a second, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown because I didn't demonstrate this at all previously, and we've not touched on it in the script, but actually I'm very socially inept and insecure, and I will have a breakdown if you leave me for 5 seconds. And it's like, where did that come from?
I'll take a step back to say something broad to finish my overall thoughts, and then
I'll
zero in on that moment. Because, no, it's my fault. I've been going off on all these tangents and haven't. So it's a middle of the road. It's a middle of the road overall kind of movie for me. There definitely are highlights, but then there's stuff about it where I'm just like, it hurts the movie enough for me that it would be one that I'll probably never watch again. But I also don't think it's like a shitty movie necessarily. It's just it's a mixed bag. So that particular scene that you're talking about, to me, in a movie that has plenty of sloppy shit when it comes to the script, that's one of the sloppier scenes because it like you said, it's not really set up very well. Her reaction is valid in the sense that she's upset with him and he completely disappeared. Yeah. The intensities may be a little too high, but his intensity coming back does not match. And the shit that he says does not match either. It was a weird moment where I was just like, this is one of those moments where it feels less like a real argument with a real couple and more that the screenwriter was like, okay, we need to establish that there's tension. You know, it's one of those things where it's like I'm being told what's happening now with the plot as opposed to watching it unfold naturally with the character. So I think it starts in most of the stuff that doesn't work in the movie. It starts with the script, or it probably starts with the book because from what I've read, it follows pretty closely, and the book's real plotty all over the place too. Usually starts there, and then it either gets better or worse depending on the performances. And I think most of the time better, but sometimes the stuff with Keanu, you're with him constantly. He's your POV character. You're seeing it all unravel. I liked some of the horror aspects. I also felt like it's a weird tone, man. Like it's a movie that doesn't shy away from being a horror movie, but also it's not a horror movie a lot of the time, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, it doesn't feel like something that they're unsure about or embarrassed by, but it also, like you said, like, they kind of bury the lead, but at the same time heavily suggest stuff all the time so that you're like, well, clearly, if you didn't know, you're starting to, pick on one, unless you're my mom.
I think it's a horror movie when it needs to be. It doesn't need to be a horror movie that often. So, and I kind of like that approach because it puts you in the same point of view as like the Mary Ann character, where it's like everything's fine, holy shit, demon face.
Right.
Like,
no, that's true.
You know,
that's true.
Very rarely
it makes that shit more jarring.
Yeah, and I think that jarring nature is what makes it effective. You know, like they're at the funeral for Eddie, and actually that was one thing, was the joggers chasing after him and turning invisible, and it turns out that they're not the ones that kill him; it's a couple of homeless guys. I'm like, okay, so what was the point of the invisible joggers then? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
So that's my other big mixed bag negative takeaway from the movie. By the end of the movie, by the reveal, by the cut back to the bathroom, by the time we get to the fourth wall break, there's definitely and the obvious needle drop, so obvious that Andy set it up last week for without even knowing we were going to be doing this movie, and then Sympathy for the Devil plays at the end. By the time you get to all that shit, there is definitely a huge part of me that's kind of like, well, what's the point? Like, what's the point of the movie? Like, if it's because it does become it was all a dream thing, which is a divisive, thing for a lot of people anyway. But then on top of that, it's suggested that he doesn't learn the lesson, or that maybe he did learn the lesson, but Satan's going to keep fucking with him. But then at the same time, the third act before that cut back to the bathroom in Florida, they sort of suggest that like free will is like the thing. Like the devil is tempting, manipulating, whatever, but he's not making anybody do anything. They're ultimately doing it themselves. So it's this kind of muddled, multiple thing. And then you get to the end and it's like, it was all a dream, but maybe it's starting over. And then now Al Pacino is talking to me through my TV screen credits. So then there's a part of me at the end that's kind of like, it reminds me of the ending of Burn After Reading, if you've seen that, where J.K. Simmons is looking over all the shit that you've watched happen in the movie in this file, and he's just like, what did we learn here? Like, what the fuck was this all? What was the point of all of this? So that's, it's, I don't know. It's fine. I get it. It's cheeky, but there's also part of me that's like, okay.
I had a violent swing from one way to the other with the ending of the film. Like, I enjoyed the fact that it felt like it was about to end on a very nihilistic ending where, Reeves blows his brains out to kind of save the world and redeem himself.
Also oddly similar to the end of Constantine, where he kills himself in front of Satan. I thought about that the whole time.
We might be.
Yeah. Him floating up to heaven with his middle finger out in Constantine.
And then like Al Pacino turning into Keanu Reeves looking angel was kind of cool, I guess.
I forgot about that. That was one of my favorite parts in the movie, because it's like I could have done with more weird shit like that throughout the movie. Like, because I didn't necessarily know what to make of that, which I kind of liked. Where I was like, what the fuck? Like, he's Keanu Reeves with wings. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. And then you get the whole reveal that like he's in the bathroom, and it's like, who shot JR? Nobody did. It was a dream.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know if I like that. And I thought about it, and I was like, okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's basically kind of like, in my mind, it was that he actually did all of those things, and then the devil basically just kind of like lost his power over him, and somehow, maybe through divine intervention from God above or something, it was almost like rewarding him for doing the right thing by resetting everything and starting it all over again from the point of the bathroom. And then I thought I was all right with it, and then like the whole reveal, the face morph, and like human pride and vanity is my favorite emotion, and I was like, no, I didn't like that middle ending. I really like the end ending. I like this ending. It's like, oh, it was the devil that rewound time, and he's just trying to get at him from another angle. But then I thought about it again just now, and I was like, yeah, but he wouldn't fuck his sister the first time. He's not going to do it this time, is he? Like, how are you gonna how are you gonna figure that one out, mate? Like, unless you make her look different. I don't know. I quite like movies that maybe not to the extent of like Lord of the Rings, where they have like 18 different endings, one after the other. But I do like a movie that makes you think that's the end, and then they're like, but there's a little bit more. And they almost pull the rug out from underneath you when they do that, and they change things dramatically with the ending. So, like, you know, I've mentioned before, there was a TV movie that was made years ago about like a guy who finds out he has a twin, and then the twin ends up being evil, and they have a fight in the final scene. And one of the things that they have throughout the movie is that this evil twin did this trick where he rolls a quarter over his knuckles. And then at the very end of the movie, after you think that the evil twin has been killed, you zoom in on kind of like the happy ending, and then the guy gets a quarter out and he starts rolling it over his knuckles. And you're like, holy shit, the evil twin actually won. I like those kind of nihilistic twist endings that completely reshape your entire feeling about the movie in like a 10-second moment.
I think of two immediately, and Well, that's the thing I was going to say. If I say them and the people haven't seen the movie, it spoils the literal ending.
Okay, everybody, skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want two random movies ruined for you.
Okay,
there we go.
The first one. Man, I'm still scared. I'm trying to figure out how to like lean into it and to give somebody an out. Okay,
you've got 25 seconds.
the first one is part of the Alien franchise. So if you haven't seen any of the Alien movies and you don't know what I'm talking about, you could probably narrow it down if it's only one. But yeah, Alien Covenant. That's what happens at the end. Great ending, and great fake out moment. I mean, you can kind of see it coming, but Scott does a good job telegraphing it in a way that works really well.
Yep. Anyone that's come back, hang on. Anyone that's just come back, skip forward another 30 seconds. Cheers.
Yes. And then the other one, we've done an episode on the show, and that's Frailty. Frailty. That's probably the first time I ran into that sort of like twist reveal, because it's McConaughey and Josh Lucas, I think. Is McConaughey grown up in that?
McConaughey and Powers Booth.
Powers Booth is Bill Paxton's the dad. McConaughey is the grown-up kid, and then the other kid grown up. I thought it was Josh Lucas, but I might be wrong. Anyway, that's at the end of that movie, you think that you're with one brother, and you're actually with the other one. Great movie. All right, if you're back, it's safe now. We won't say what they are again.
I don't know if I've seen that movie, but I might have to.
What? Did I just fucking spoil it? I thought we did it on the show.
Yeah, the funny thing is,
it would have been early.
Yeah, but I can't remember which episodes I've been on and which ones I haven't. And if it was an early episode, I can't even go back and check anymore because Fanoff killed off our entire back catalogue. So, yay us, I guess.
So, yeah, great movie, directed by the late Bill Paxton and co-starring Bill Paxton.
Good lad.
So, yeah, I'm trying to think if I have any. I mean, I think most of the shit I have for Devil's Advocate is like, I'm not trying to wrap the episode up necessarily, but
no, you
if I have any other big, massive thoughts, I mean, it definitely feels like a movie of its time. And I don't mean that in a bad way necessarily. Like it, I think like a lot of other mid to late 90s sorts of Hollywood glossier kind of thrillers, very easy for me to snap in to watch. There were definitely moments where I was like, this movie's too long. Like I didn't get that vibe the entire time. But I had a few different moments where I was like, I'm probably halfway through, and it had been like 45 minutes, which if it would have been a 90-minute movie, I would have been.
It would have been. Yeah.
But there was a whole other, hour and change. So, too long. It's fine. It pulls from other movies at times. There's definitely some Rosemary's Baby with the Charlize Theron stuff going on. I think the devil stuff in particular, that's probably it. I think for me more than anything. I love religious horror stuff to a certain degree. We've talked about it on the podcast a lot. I always get excited and usually end up getting into a movie a little bit more, even if it's not necessarily the best movie ever, if there's a unique angle. We talked about that movie called The Possession with Jeffrey Dean Morgan about the Dybbuk box, the Jewish Modest Yahoo's in the movie. But that one was one where it was like, this is a possession movie. This is all the stuff we normally see, but it's Jewish. It's Judaism. It's different, entities and creatures and stuff pulling from that, not Catholicism, which is far and away the big thing we usually do and get with religious horror. So when religious horror does something different or plays in that sandbox, it can be great. There's a movie coming out that I'm pretty curious and excited about in some ways called The Carpenter's Son. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, it rings a bell.
It stars Nicolas Cage. It's not out yet. So I want to say it might be from a French filmmaker, but he plays, I'm assuming Joseph, the son of Jesus. FKA Twigs, who I don't really have any kind of opinion of, don't know much about her other than I know she's in the new Crow movie, which I didn't watch, plays Mary. So they're clearly already going into places that conservative Christians are probably going to be upset by. And then on top of that, I think it's a horror movie where it's like this weird kid that they have and he's going to be the Christ kind of thing. So probably will make a lot of people mad. For me, though, I was like, hell yeah, let's see what this is about. Like, when you grow up in that world, I think it's not like I, as a young kid, was like, well, let me study the Bible, let me study all this stuff. But I'm in church every week, multiple times a week. I'm in Sunday school, I'm in youth group, I'm in Sunday night service, like all this stuff, like you learn all of it. So the times where there are religious sort of references or whatever else definitely will ping on my radar, I think, so to speak, in like a way than a bigger way than other things do. This movie just never had that. It was just John Milton's his name. So, I mean, there's a Paradise Lost thing going on, the Dante's Inferno. It's just like these like classical literary references to hell and free will and whatever else. And it's just fucking boring. Like, to me anyway, like it's a lot of regurgitating the same sort of concepts and ideas. Like, to me, the idea that he is Satan is awesome. Like, have Satan interact. Like, I liked the stuff where he talks about interacting with humans, where he's like, I'm the last humanist, and I love, like, all that to me is like, okay, this is in line with like what we learn about Lucifer and the fall and all this kind of shit. But then there's definitely a stopping point to that where they don't want to go too much into the lore, so they want it to be more classy. But in my head, I'm like, I'm not saying you have to have God and angels and shit in this movie, but that's the thing that I think so many of these sorts of storylines always ignore, which is, here's a world where Satan and demons and everything are real, where it's like, okay, well then where's the counter to it? And how does that work within the function of, because maybe it is a world where there's a Satan and no God, but if you're using the traditional, sort of lore, so to speak, to refer to the Bible as lore, then there's one doesn't exist without the other, more or less. I mean, if he's a fallen angel, all that kind of shit. Okay,
so not to turn this into a Bible study, but
okay.
Precedent was set in the Garden.
You're like Revelations 14.
Well, no. I'm going to say if the precedent for how this relationship between God and man and the devil was kind of set during the Garden of Eden, where God told us what we were supposed to do and what we was not supposed to do. Then he basically just sat back and left us to it. And the snake told them, "Oh no. Touch, taste, swallow, do all of that."
Right.
It's even kind of semi-referenced in the film where he says, look, but don't touch, but don't taste, but don't swallow, which sounded a lot dirtier when he said it.
By the time he got to that one, I was like, this metaphor's losing it a little bit, and it seems just like more talking about sucking dick.
This motherfucker ain't talking about apples no more. But, it's essentially always kind of been the case in the Bible that the devil will tempt you, and God is basically going to trust you to make the right decision. He's not going to send an other to, he's not going to put an angel on your other shoulder. He's going to trust in free will and your ability to choose between right and wrong. So,
oh, totally. I mean, that's literally what the Book of Job basically is. Like, is just Job getting shit on, his fucking family getting killed, all this stuff as like a test. I mean, we're talking Old Testament stuff here too. So,
God was a dick in that day. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's kind of why you don't see, unlike in things like Constantine, where you do kind of see a little bit more of an evening of the forces.
That's what I mean, though. Like, I don't need De Niro to show up as God, like a competing lawyer. Although that movie sounds awesome.
That would be fucking great. Imagine if that was the first film they did together.
I don't need that movie. I don't need that presence of God or anything. This is definitely not like a pro-Christian argument that I'm making, where I'm saying like we need to have God represented as well. I totally understand your point. I think it's when the movies start to go outside of the normal bounds of what that quote unquote sort of balance agreement is, when Satan is directly interacting with humans and everything else. Not saying that God has to come into play, but it's always interesting to me and sort of odd where it's like people will pick and choose aspects of it because they want to lean into the horror, but then they usually always diminish the other side in a way so that it can't be. It's kind of like the equivalent, like the spiritual equivalent of putting them out in a cabin so the cell phones won't work. To where it's like they want to have it set up in a way that there's not a. Which to me then I'm not going to spoil a bunch of cool movies, but that's why to me when there are those moments of counterpoint, they can be so awesome, and sometimes still scary, still horror, still like it's not a good evil thing necessarily even that I'm thinking of in those parameters. But the specific issue with me for Devil's Advocate isn't that there's not more Christian angel shit. It's more that it's their version of Satan, and all of this stuff is just very much. It's a very specific flavor, and that flavor is Paradise Lost and Dante's Inferno. Sure. As opposed to, some of the stuff that they're referencing. I saw at one point, apparently Joel Schumacher was attached to make this, and he had a sequence that he was going to do where the main character, who I don't think I want to say it might have been Brad Pitt attached at the time, because there was some different, iterations of this before I got to the one that they made. But there was going to be a sequence where Lomac, Kevin, is descending into the different circles of hell, but the way that it's done is through the New York subway system. And like that's the kind of shit I mean, where I'm like, that's cool. Like that's the kind of stuff that it feels like this version of the movie, that idea to them probably would have been not classy enough. Like they're trying to do, it's not elevated horror because it's still campy, but it's maybe a little bit more of that. What's the Taylor Hackford, I think I said, made this. So like I looked at his filmography later on, and he made a bunch of movies I have either heard of or seen, but it's like An Officer and a Gentleman, the movie Ray with Jamie Foxx, like the Proof of Life, that Russell Crowe movie. Like they're not horror movies, and they're operating and interacting with the material in a very specific way. So anyway, I think like it's not a criticism in a way where I'm like, oh, they fucked this up. It was more a way for me specifically where I'm like, my interest is there for the devil stuff, and then it only gets to a certain point because their influences and their execution of it is just so like classical art inspired, which makes those moments like him turning into an angel version of Keanu Reeves that much more interesting because they're weird and they don't really explain it. But yeah, I could have used more moments like that and less. Yeah.
But I think they probably didn't want to distract from the aesthetic of it being kind of like a court drama, Grisham.
No, for sure.
So yeah. they wanted. I think there's a definite decision there to keep all the weird shit as far from the
and that's what I mean when I say like not a pro. I don't think they did anything wrong. It was more just my own. Yeah,
you would have liked to see more weird shit, but they can't make multiple versions of fucking Constantine. It's kind of weird that you made this and then did Constantine a few years later, and it's like you just love fucking with like the devil and shit, don't you?
I guess Reeves is an interesting actor.
He picks interesting projects. He definitely does,
and he has interesting specific interests. In terms of like, he's really into F1. He's really into martial arts, like, and not in a way where it's like, oh, he makes a bunch of martial arts movie. Like the motherfucker directed a movie called Man of Tai Chi. Like this dude is into this stuff. Like really, really loves it. He's developed a like meme level internet celebrity culture about how he's like a nice guy, like, which is, probably best case scenario for you as somebody with a PR agent. that like everybody, you're just known as being this nice guy all the time. So I think that's also plays part into of like the thing where we all kind of, when he is bad, we kind of just go with it because everybody kind of likes him. He's fun in the movie. He's just it's just not a Keanu Reeves role. So
yeah, I definitely think that as he's aged, he's improved, which you want to see, right? Like it would be something if he started off really good and then just got gradually worse and worse. But the age and experience, I think it helps that he picks his projects probably a little more carefully now than maybe he would have done right at the beginning, but you can afford to when you're Keanu Reeves, right? You can pick what you want to do rather than at the beginning where you're just basically booking whatever will pay you. But yeah, there's definitely a limit to his range, and I think that voiceover work is definitely not his strong suit. Like there's that moment in the scene that I wanted to get to because of the cinematography aspect of it, where Milton basically parrots back the words that he said when he was talking about, no, I'm not going to drop the case because I'm scared that if I do and she gets better, I'm going to hold it against her. And it's Keanu Reeves who has done that dialogue, and then they dub it over the top of Al Pacino, like moving his mouth to fit the words, which he does a great job of. But the delivery is just off, so badly off. It's not, they haven't just taken the line as delivered in the street, which I thought was one of his really best line deliveries in the movie. Like you could see there that he had that concern in his eyes. I believed what he was saying about his concerns about if I drop the case, then what if I blame her if she gets better? Like it felt,
her,
yeah, like that felt like a very real moment. But the line reading version in that scene in the office or wherever it was, his living quarters, was just really flat. And maybe it was meant to be. Like maybe it was, the idea was that he was using the Mark. Is it Mark? I can't fucking cast. Where's the bloody cast list? Here it is. Kevin. That's it. He's using. Name. Maybe he's using Kevin's voice, but he's also delivering it in such a way as to mock him at the same time.
You mean when Pacino says it?
When Pacino says it.
Yeah.
But I think it probably would have served them better if they literally just took the delivery from earlier in the movie and just replayed it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because
I noticed that
just
too.
Sounded a bit iffy. Yeah.
It did.
But then it's surrounded by some of the best cinematography in the entire movie. Like the way that they play with that fire light kind of glowing off of them, and so it's kind of like lighting them from below and to the side, so you're getting like the jaw lines are being kind of, and then like it and
serves, very much a hell thing, like
for sure, like it's very moody, it's very oppressive. It's also like the amount of shadow means that you can effectively hide other characters, like the sister. What was her character? Christabella, I think her name was.
Yeah.
Played by Connie Nielsen, who she's had a career. I didn't realise she was in Gladiator 2. Oh, she was in Gladiator as well, wasn't she?
Gladiator 1,
she was.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't recognize her at first. I don't think I had seen her this young. But I mean, even then, Gladiator wasn't that long after.
It was only 3 years after, but she had much more natural looking hair in that movie, which I think actually does serve to soften her features. Like that red hair really, she looked closer to looking like Charlize Theron in this movie than she has ever looked in any other film that I've seen her in. And I think that's also intentional.
Aggressively Italian, which I think helped me not realize who she was at first.
Yeah, probably.
And that's a compliment to her acting. Like I didn't even connect it for, like, eventually I was like, oh no, I know who this is. But at first I was like, oh, it must be some hot Italian actress who was cast in this movie and and did nothing else. Like it seems like that kind of role in terms of like the temptation of a like affair or whatever. Those roles are always usually bit parts. Yeah, but
and of course I recognized
Craig T.
her.
Nelson too.
Yeah, I recognized her immediately from her greatest role, which was that of Queen Hippolyta.
Shit, that's right. In the Snyder stuff. I forgot about that.
Yeah. hence why I said it was her greatest role, because obviously I'm a massive shill for those movies. But yeah, she was Wonder Woman's mum. So
yeah,
what a career she's had, man. Like, really.
It's also strange seeing Jeffrey Jones and stuff now, like going back and watching since he, it came out that he was, I don't remember the specifics. I think child predator like it was bad stuff to the point where they like killed him off, and he's not in the Beetlejuice sequel. I don't think. I
think his funeral is during the movie. I've not seen it, so I don't know for sure. But I think there is a funeral in the movie, so that's probably his.
It's always odd seeing, because he's in Ferris Bueller, which is one of my favorite movies ever. Like it's this weird thing when you see him of like, oh shit, and then like, oh shit. It's like a very sort of back to back.
I just have to kind of switch my brain off for that and just treat him as a character rather than an actor.
He does get beaten to death in the movies. I guess there's that if you're conflicted about it.
Yeah. It helps.
Oh, and Heather Matarazzo at the very beginning, who was in the Scream movies, a couple of them, and plays a young victim. That was another thing. The whole movie's like sense of sin, like, was always done in kind of like the ickiest ways, I thought. Like, I don't know, that maybe that was just like a 90s let's make something controversial and stuff, but even down to like you have to fuck your sister because incest makes the Antichrist. There's a lot of stuff where it was just kind of like, oh, okay. Like, this doesn't really seem like it's rooted in anything other than you guys just trying to be a little bit edgy and offensive or whatever. But anyway, I'm definitely glad I watched it. I would imagine this is going to be a pattern for these sorts of movies that I missed during this time and was like, oh, I want to see this movie that I'm not allowed to watch, is that they're going to be aggressively fine. Like they're going to be always just like, they're okay. They're never going to be what nearly as bad as I thought they were back when they came out in terms of like shocking material, and then never as good enough to be something that I would have watched by now. I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it. I will probably never watch it again. I like that there's a part where Pacino gets so angry that he screams and his like clothes blow off and everything bursts into fire. Like that's
that happens
ridiculous.
To me all the time when I get angry.
Sure, yeah,
I get through a lot of clothes, especially in the last decade.
But yeah, it's okay. To me, this would also like nowadays this would be a TV series. Like it makes sense that like Lucifer was a show, like that they were, kind of leaning into like, oh, it's fun being bad kind of thing. I think it wouldn't make as much sense in 2025 as a movie, but I think there were plans, because there was a novel, a prequel novel that was written later on, and there were plans to make that into a TV series. I read that somewhere. So Andrew Needleman wrote Judgment Day in 2014. It's about John Milton arriving in New York City and obtaining control of a major law firm. I don't even drink coffee and I can't talk. It was unsuccessfully adapted into a series in 2014. There you go.
Since then, Needleman has been working on developing The Devil's Advocate into a musical for British and German theatres. It's like he knows about this show. And they also, Julian Wolford launched a stage adaptation, Advocaat van de Duivel, in the Netherlands in 2015. Apologies to our Dutch listeners. I have butchered your language.
This would honestly... I'd probably enjoy this more as a play. I think it would like normally really when you hear about shit like that, you're like, okay, of course, Evil Dead the musical, whatever. But this does have a stage play vibe to it. You could, especially with how they did the horror things, you could definitely do some cool shit on stage since it's not constant. So yeah, okay, yeah. I think I'm pretty much wrapped up here.
I've only got one more thing, which occurred to me about halfway through the film. I was sitting there and I just thought to myself, 1997, this film is nearly 30 years old.
It's very strange, isn't it?
How fucking young was Keanu Reeves in this film?
Oh, dude, I mean, that was the weirdest thing for me when I saw him at first. Was I have seen The Matrix so many times. Obviously, I've seen movies with Keanu Reeves before that, after that. It's not like I've only seen The Matrix, but I've seen The Matrix a lot. And so that particular brand of Keanu, that age, the way his skin looks, the way his face is structured, like, it sounds like I'm creepily about to kill him and stalk him. I don't mean in that. I just mean like it is so close to how he looks in The Matrix that it's almost jarring, like watching him in this, because it's like it's not that movie, but the era is just so specific.
Short hair Keanu didn't last very long post this, I think. Like
no, he had it buzzed in Speed. But that was before this. So to your point,
The Matrix was probably. I'm trying to think. He had it cut for the future sequels, and obviously he had it buzzed off for the real world moments.
Yeah.
But then I think after that he started growing it out, and he's basically been long hair Keanu, nice guy on the streets of New York ever since. He's 61, dude. 61.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a moment in the movie where it's when his mom. Oh shit! To tag on to my thing earlier about their depiction of religion, that was the other point I was going to make with that whole thing of how they handled the religious stuff. Because the other counterpoint in the movie is his mom, and she is a very, to me at least, very annoying. Great, you're right. She's good in the movie, but like I have met a billion people like that, like growing up. So it's grating to me, where it's just like, oh my god, it's one of these like brands of Christians or whatever. So like that's the other side of the pendulum or whatever in terms of that we get in the movie. But when she's talking about how another kind of meaningless twist to me, but his dad is Milton. When she says the year, she's like, it was in 1966. And that was when I was like, that's when my dad was born. Like, it's so weird to think that Keanu Reeves is my dad's age. Like, my dad's in good shape and like doing. I mean, he's not John Wick, but he's like he looks way younger than he is. But it's so odd thinking about that, like, because we've seen him wicking it up for so many movies where he just kind of seems like a dude in his 20s, and he's 40 years older than that.
I mean, if your dad was John Wick, would he tell you?
No, absolutely
no,
not. Yeah.
No. So I don't know. He spent some time abroad.
Who knows? My mom died. Who knows how many people have been killed since then? I may not know all the truth. So
that went darker than I intended.
My dad. Well, I mean, she did die, but my dad's on a roaring rampage of revenge.
Yeah, normally it's a dog. Is
the joke. It's okay. It's been years. I can joke about it now. I joked about it pretty quick. That's kind of how, but only in a way where. Yeah, and like also the jokes, I think not a lot of people get this, but I almost feel closer to my mom sometimes when I make jokes like that, because there are jokes that I know she would have laughed at. Like that's the thing I always have, because I used to try to make my mom laugh all the time and say stuff that would either, shock her in a way that would make her laugh or, whatever. And dark humor was part of it. So anyway, a weird tangent to end on. Any other final thoughts, Dave, before we do double feature picks?
I wish that people still made movies like this. I know that you're more in the middle on this one, but I genuinely I love the mix of boring courtroom drama and surprise, I'm the fucking devil, and those moments where they just kind of. And we'll get more into this with the double feature pick, but like the moment in the church where he dips his finger in the consecrated water and it just boils, like moments like that, I just absolutely love, because it's a reasonably low tech special effect, but goddamn is it effective.
I'll tell you the part that I love in that is the moment right before the water boils. Yeah, there's like a snap zoom of him like looking up, like with the mischievous look.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did like that part.
Like, I'm gonna piss in your water, like that kind of. Yeah. I thought that was great as well. But yeah, that's it for me. I kind of miss that we're past the point now where movies like this are made, and like that you can count the visual effects on maybe like a couple of hands. There's a great shot also of a deserted New York which I don't know if they just closed off a bunch of streets or...
I thought that too.
Yeah, like it was clear that it was filmed either early in the morning or late at night because of the shadow he was casting. Late in the evening. I would imagine it was probably done in the morning time, but maybe someone that's familiar with New York can tell me which direction the sun was pointing based on the things that were...
They also had to have done some digital shit because the way the shot is set up, you can see pretty far down the road. Like, so closing down that much road, I'm guessing would be impossible. So I would imagine it was a mix. Yeah. But that was a cool shot. I noticed that too.
Yeah. And then like the where they did use the digital effects, it was always for something that was necessary, like morphing the faces into like demons, the shifting of the reporter into Al Pacino at the end of the movie, things like that. Like there are ways.
The sculpture
of doing
stuff
it.
Looked pretty good too.
Yeah, it did actually. I'm glad that they put so much effort in that someone thought, "Oh, hang on, that's my sculpture," and the most boring legal drama of all time resulted. But yeah, I think it just kind of made me a little bit sad for the fact that we're well past that kind of mid-90s heyday of special effects can be done with a computer, but if we can do it on a practical level, maybe that's the cheaper way of doing it. Right. At some point that flipped and it became cheaper to do it digitally, and I blame George Lucas entirely. It wasn't long after this that the second trilogy came out and they were acting in front of blue screens. Oh, that is one thing actually. No, there was one more thing, and I apologise, David. And you know where this is going because
I'm going to say.
There is some of the worst blue screen that I've ever seen in a major Hollywood movie. In this film, when they're on the balcony, you can see the blue outline around her head,
and it's ironic because Connie Nielsen's character goes. She's like, "What a view, huh?" And then it cuts to him seeing the view, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
like, what view? This motherfucker's standing in front of a blue curtain. There's
what a
no
view, huh? Whoa!
They're standing in front of a fucking sheet.
So fucking bad. Like, I'm so glad we moved to green screen, but even then, like. Come on, guys! You couldn't just do a little bit more of color correction. Like you have digital effects. You've shown us you have digital effects. Just a little bit of touch up, just in post. That's all I'm asking. Maybe someone, when they do the 4K re-release of this, someone will go in and just tidy it up a little bit, just to make it.
Speaking of which, and I didn't end up. I almost bought the Blu-ray, and then I was like, "What are the odds that I'll watch this one time and then I have to sell it? I'll just rent it." So I'm glad I rented it.
Yeah.
But the Blu-ray is an unrated director's cut.
Oh.
And based off of what I can find, it's just that the sculpture's different. There's no.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
They've like taken that sticker that they had to put on because of the lawsuit and then just tried to spin it into some kind of marketing bullshit to get people to buy it, thinking that. That's what I read. I haven't confirmed that, but from what I read, it's like, oh yeah, the unrated director's cut is just the version with the fixed sculpture that they messed with.
Because I'm guessing I saw the version that was originally released because
I'm assuming so too.
It looked very much like when it morphs, because originally it just looked like someone had done artexing on a wall. And like swirly shit, and then when the supernatural stuff starts kicking in after his wife has killed herself.
You mean before the? I'm not sure. I don't know either.
Remember specifically what it looked like in earlier shots, and it was just swirly shit. There weren't people in it, and then when it morphs at the end of the movie, when he goes to kill his father, it morphs into the one that got them into trouble. So I don't know if maybe it always looked like
the
that.
Shots earlier.
Maybe they changed it so that it didn't always look like that, rather than I don't know, but it definitely looks like that sculpture. I've looked it up, and they haven't got a leg to stand on. They really don't.
No, they don't.
All they can claim is, well, it's in a public area, so we just took it as inspiration.
Fair use. Yeah.
Anyway, that is genuinely my final thoughts, except for the fact that you're in New York, you're on a Hollywood budget, you have $50 million budget. How much would it have cost to just shoot that one scene on a balcony in New York?
Yeah, you would think. But yeah, absolutely.
I'm guessing more than a blue screen cost. Anyway. David, what's your double feature pick?
Man, I don't know. I don't know if I actually even had one that I was narrowing down. I was going to have you go first.
Oh, I can go first if you want. Yeah, sorry. It's just like I
was trying to pull up my notes because, like, what did I write down? I couldn't even remember.
I just jumped on the opportunity. It's so rare that I ask everyone what their double feature pick is. I thought, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for something. I actually just need to Google it just to.
Oh, never mind. I remember what I wrote down. I already said
then.
it. It's Constantine. I think the fun, weird approach of Keanu Reeves dealing with Satan in very different ways. One as a lawyer, one as a man who has a shotgun that's shaped like a cross and has holy water grenades. Is a fun look at the ways you can handle the source material. So yeah, I'll just go with Constantine.
Okay. I am going for a film. I'm burying the lead because I like doing this. I like making people try and guess what I'm going for before I actually name it. So there is a movie, major Hollywood movie, where the devil also would quite like to have a family. People already know what it is.
Okay.
Oh, you're not quite sure yet. Okay.
I'm trying to think.
So there's a major name playing the devil. His name is not a reference to a literary figure that perhaps wrote about devilish things, but rather is the most clunky use of the Dutch van system to just kind of like run into a devilish name. I'm doing terribly, so I'm just going to say now it's 1987's The Witches of Eastwick, starring Jack Nicholson as Daryl Van Horn. A movie where he seduces 3 women and tries to have babies with all of them, succeeds, and then comes a cropper after they decide that girls can do it for themselves.
Amazing. I don't know that I knew anything about this movie until you just described it.
Oh, really?
I've always known about it. I think it's a book, right? Isn't it based off of...
Yeah, it's based on a book.
Is it Dom DeLillo, maybe? I can't remember now. But yeah, I've always known about it. I've known the cast, but yeah, I've never seen it. And I had no idea what it was about. So
yeah. So
and actually, it's John Updike. I just looked it up.
Okay.
The original. And I also just remembered the other double feature pick that I was originally going to go with. And you know what? I'm going to switch it out officially. Constantine is gone. Still watch Constantine. But another movie that we did on the show that I completely forgot about. I remembered while I was watching the movie that does star Robert De Niro as the devil, Angel Heart. Do you remember that movie?
Oh, yeah.
Much better. I think a much better movie in terms of like it held up and like it. It was Mickey Rourke. That's what it was. That was like more of like a detective, but also Louis Cypher, I believe was his name, in Angel Heart. So yeah, I'll go with Angel Heart.
Wasn't there a character who was literally called Angel and the film was basically like this guy was murdered and they took his heart? Like it felt like it was very clunky.
I'm trying to remember. I don't think that's what it's called, right? Angel Heart? Yeah, Angel Heart, 1987. I think his name is Harry Angel.
There you go.
So maybe there was. I don't remember. All I remember is there was a bunch of New Orleans magic Creole stuff in it, and I remember like the vibe of it was very like neo-noir, dark crime. I enjoyed all of that.
It's been a while since we talked about that one, but yeah,
years.
I definitely remember it. I remember that there was an absolutely bitching beard being worn by Robert De Niro during that film.
Absolutely. You're completely right, Dave. All right, listeners, let us know what you thought about this film, The Devil's Advocate. Feel free to send us some longer form thoughts if you'd like, eerieinternational@gmail.com. Otherwise, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you thought. We'll be back next week to talk about something else. Not sure what that's going to be yet. I believe Andy will be back with us. In the meantime, stay safe out there. Keep watching horror movies, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.